Oh my, I did do that, didn't I, Lester? Listen, there's so many fighters, there's so many fights today. For the old man, it's hard to keep up, guys. So I know some of you guys are sharper than me, you're younger than me. Give me a little bit of a break there. But my overall point with that is still made. You know, fighting is local. And how do I say that? I say that, what do I mean? Like, if you're the champion of NorCal, there's a very good chance you can be the champion anywhere, right? Like that's how we are as human beings joined together and whatnot. But fighting is also 90% mental, right? So what happens is the champion in NorCal suddenly is fighting a guy from Russia, and it's like he's fighting the entire country of Russia. He doesn't think like I'm fighting this guy from Russia. I'm a tough guy, I'll do good. No, it doesn't work that way. Like, you get into your own head about it and you think that's bigger than me. And being an island nation, I think Japan's had that same problem. In boxing, obviously, MMA's only been around so long. Although we've seen it in MMA. I mean, one of you listeners listed all the great Japanese fighters that never had any success in the UFC, and it's true. I will tell you, British boxing is the same way. Lately we've had what? Anthony Joshua. We've had Audley Harrison, who didn't make it, but people don't never ever makes it. We had Tyson Fury. You had a slew of champs. Before that, I think it was Henry Cooper was the only guy who ever fought Muhammad Ali and became close to becoming champ, and the Britons were all excited about that. And it was because the island nation got on the world scene and said, oh, can I do this? Now I watch journeyman contender types from England come out and take out, American guys that are top notch. So I think people are getting around to it as fighting becomes a true worldwide sport, like soccer or anything else. And people realize, like, hey, if I'm great here, I can be great there. But that mental part of the game will never get away from us. And I was never trying to disparage Japanese fighters or any fighters from any one area. Look, in the 80s, boxing had a heavyweight of African Americans in the top 10 from the United States. Why is that? That is because it was essentially an inner city sport at the time. So the only people who could train and get into the rankings and get around were African Americans in the inner city, right? And then the Mexicans who fought were too small, right? So they weren't heavyweights at the time. Well, all that's changed, right? We got Andy Ruiz, we got Zurdo Ramirez, we got big Mexican guys that fight now. The heavyweight top 10 was taken over by Eastern Europeans for a while in the 90s, which I thought was hilarious. Suddenly the whole top 10 was white Eastern Europeans instead of black African Americans. The point is, fighting is local and it doesn't really matter. But culturally, we can get stuck in our own heads because, after all, fighting is 90% mental. And there it is. That's all I meant. Sorry, Kai. Sorry, Ty. I get confused. I'm old. Like and follow for more of the Fight Game.